Welcome to the Book Club podcast. You're listening to the audiobook edition of Becoming Her: How to Stand Out in a World Full of Beautiful Women
by Kamiko Chamo.
If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future chapters or upcoming book releases. This book is also available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle formats if you'd like your own copy to read along or take notes. Now, let's begin today's chapter. Chapter 14. Playing the game without losing yourself. The difference between strategy and authenticity. Love and connection are emotional landscapes, but they also carry elements of psychology and strategy. The danger is when a woman becomes so consumed by the game, how to text, how to appear less interested, how to win, that she loses her authenticity in the process. High-value women understand that awareness of dynamics is useful, but manipulation is poison. Strategy without integrity erodes the very magnetism you're trying to preserve. Authenticity is your deepest currency. It's the rare combination of truth and confidence that cannot be faked. Strategy focuses on control, controlling perception, timing, or someone else's emotions. Authenticity focuses on connection, allowing your truth to shape the rhythm naturally. You don't play games when you're not afraid to lose. And the woman who is not afraid to lose becomes unforgettable because her energy says, I am whole with or without this. To navigate relationships powerfully, you must know when to use awareness and when to let go. Awareness allows you to observe patterns, to see whether someone is genuinely interested, emotionally available, or consistent. It gives you the wisdom to pace your emotional investment. But awareness without heart becomes calculation. Authenticity without awareness becomes naivety. The art lies in merging the two, emotional intelligence guided by truth. When you're authentic, you stop reacting to validation and start responding to energy. You don't ask, do they like me? You ask, how do I feel when I'm around them? That question alone shifts your focus from performance to peace. The woman who plays to win sacrifices herself. The woman who shows up as herself never loses. Authenticity also creates emotional safety. When your words, tone, and energy align, people trust you. Men relax in your presence because there's no hidden agenda. You don't say one thing and feel another. You don't punish through silence or reward through flattery. Your consistency builds attraction far more effectively than any tactic ever could. In contrast, when you lead with strategy, withholding affection, testing loyalty, or mirroring coldness, you create emotional distortion. A man may stay intrigued temporarily, but the bond becomes performance-based. Eventually, it collapses because it lacks emotional truth. High-value relationships can't be built on pretending. Spiritually, authenticity is alignment with your higher self. It's a return to your natural state, calm, radiant, and open-hearted. Strategy is a reaction to fear, the fear of loss, rejection, or vulnerability. When you choose authenticity, you transcend fear. You stand in emotional abundance, trusting that what's meant for you will feel effortless, not forced. This doesn't mean you reveal everything at once. You can be transparent and still mysterious. You can be open without being exposed. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing. It means being real in each moment. It's saying, this is how I feel, without expectation or manipulation. It's leading with integrity, even when silence would be easier. The paradox of authenticity is that it becomes the ultimate strategy. When you are genuine, your energy is clean, free from the residue of desperation or deceit. That purity is rare, and people sense it. The right men will be drawn in, the wrong ones will fall away. You never need to chase alignment. You simply attract it by being real. To play the game without losing yourself, stop trying to win and start trying to be. Your peace is the prize. Your boundaries are the rules. Your energy is the scoreboard. And when you lead with authenticity, with both softness and discernment, you never have to fear losing anyone. Because the truth is, you cannot lose what is meant for the woman you really are. Emotional self-control and love. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the human experience, but it can also be one of the most destabilizing. It stirs emotions so deeply that even the most grounded woman can lose her sense of center if she hasn't learned the art of emotional self-control. Yet emotional mastery doesn't mean suppressing feelings or pretending indifference. It means becoming so attuned to your emotional world that you can guide it, not be governed by it. In relationships, emotional self-control is the difference between reaction and response, between chaos and connection. The woman who possesses it doesn't let temporary feelings sabotage lasting peace. She can love deeply without losing discernment. She feels everything, the longing, the excitement, the vulnerability, but she doesn't let those feelings dictate her choices. Her emotions inform her, but they don't own her. When love enters your life, it often triggers both light and shadow. You may feel euphoric, desired, alive, but also fearful, insecure, or uncertain. Without emotional regulation, those fears can manifest as overreactions, constant texting, seeking reassurance, testing affection, or creating unnecessary conflict. Emotional self-control allows you to pause, to breathe, to remember that anxiety is not intuition. You begin to distinguish between your wounds and your wisdom. Masculine energy, in particular, is drawn to emotional steadiness. Men crave peace, even if they cannot articulate it. When a woman's emotions feel unpredictable, they feel unsafe. But when she exudes emotional composure, he relaxes. He can open up, communicate, and invest without feeling that the relationship is a minefield. High-value women understand this and cultivate emotional safety not only for themselves, but for the connection as a whole. To embody emotional self-control, start by cultivating awareness. Notice your emotional triggers, jealousy, impatience, the need for validation, and instead of reacting, trace them back to their origin. Ask, what is this feeling trying to teach me? Most reactions stem from fear of loss, rejection, or inadequacy. When you meet fear with compassion instead of judgment, you disarm it. Self-control also requires emotional boundaries. Just because someone evokes emotion doesn't mean they deserve your reaction. Not every action needs a response. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes your restraint is more powerful than your words. That's why high-value women never let someone else's behavior pull them out of character. Their composure is not situational, it's a lifestyle. Practically, this looks like self-soothing instead of seeking. When you feel anxious or triggered, you don't reach outward. You go inward. You meditate, journal, pray, breathe. You remind yourself of who you are before the emotion. You return to equilibrium before you communicate. When you speak from that calm, your words carry weight because they are not tainted by desperation or defensiveness. Emotionally intelligent women also learn to differentiate vulnerability from volatility. Vulnerability says, "This is how I feel." Volatility says, "You made me feel this way." The first invites intimacy. The second demands accountability. When you express emotion responsibly, you create trust. When you project it recklessly, you create distance. Spiritually, emotional self-control is the essence of feminine power. It's the understanding that stillness can be seductive and calmness can be commanding. It's knowing that you can be soft and strong at once, that tears don't make you weak, but letting them dictate your choices might. The woman who has mastered herself can face heartbreak with grace, temptation with wisdom, and uncertainty with poise. In love, emotional control is not about being detached. It's about being devoted without losing direction. You love with depth, but not dependency. You stay open, but not exposed. You hold space for connection while holding on to your self-respect. And this is the paradox. The more you master your emotions, the freer you become. You stop being swayed by inconsistency or confusion. You stop chasing peace because you are peace. You realize that emotional self-control is not about suppressing love, it's about elevating it. When you can love without losing yourself, you don't just attract better love, you become it. When to walk away with dignity. There comes a moment in every woman's life when she must decide whether to keep fighting for something that's fading or to walk away with her dignity intact. This moment is not defined by heartbreak alone. It is defined by awareness. Awareness that peace costs less than persistence, that respect cannot be negotiated, and that love, no matter how deep, should never require self-abandonment. Walking away with dignity is not weakness, it's divine strength. It's the quiet recognition that you deserve reciprocity, not resistance. It's the moment you choose yourself, not from arrogance, but from wisdom. Wisdom born from loving fully, giving sincerely, and realizing that love without mutual effort becomes self-sacrifice. The reason this lesson is difficult for so many women is because love is emotional, not logical. You remember the potential, the laughter, the small details that made your heart warm. You replay moments hoping they'll add up to meaning. But when love becomes one-sided, when communication turns to confusion and connection becomes conditional, the kindest thing you can do for both of you is release it. Holding on doesn't keep love alive. It only prolongs the pain. Men, too, feel the energy of a woman who has lost her dignity in pursuit. When you chase, beg, or plead, you unintentionally communicate that your worth depends on being chosen. But the truth is, you are already chosen by life, by grace, by your own spirit. The woman who knows this never chases attention. She commands respect simply by honoring her silence. The power of walking away with dignity lies in your restraint. It's in the text you don't send, the call you don't make, the explanation you no longer owe. It's understanding that closure doesn't come from conversation. It comes from acceptance. You stop needing someone to validate your pain and instead validate yourself. You say, "This hurts, but I will not lose myself in the process." There's a certain beauty in that moment, when a woman who once gave her all stands tall again. Her silence becomes sacred. Her withdrawal becomes her healing. And her absence becomes her power. It's not revenge, it's rebirth. The same love that once made her vulnerable now makes her valuable because she has learned to give it first to herself. Spiritually, walking away with dignity aligns you with divine timing. The universe cannot deliver new blessings to a heart still clinging to the past. When you let go, you create space for restoration, alignment, and true connection. What's meant for you will never require you to lose your peace to keep it. And here's what often happens after you walk away. The energy shifts. The one who took your presence for granted begins to feel your absence. Your stillness becomes louder than words. But by then, you've changed, your healing has become your home. Whether they return or not no longer defines your worth because your dignity has already done that. Walking away with dignity doesn't mean you stop loving. It means you love yourself enough to stop suffering. It's the ultimate expression of feminine strength, the ability to leave the table when respect is no longer being served, without bitterness, without drama, without breaking your own peace. Because sometimes the most powerful way to say, "I love you," is to say, "I love me more." And that choice, love, is where true freedom begins. Understanding male testing behavior. There's an unspoken truth about attraction that many women don't realize. Men test women, not always consciously, not out of malice, but to understand who they are dealing with. These tests are rarely about manipulation. They are instinctive ways of gauging emotional strength, self-respect, and stability. Masculine energy seeks to know, can she handle my world? Can she respect herself while loving me? Understanding this behavior allows you to navigate connection with wisdom instead of confusion. Men test boundaries because boundaries define safety. Just as women want to know if a man can protect, lead, and provide, men subconsciously want to know if a woman can hold her ground without crumbling. They test to see if your self-esteem depends on their attention. When you become reactive, needy, or defensive, it signals instability. But when you remain calm, detached, and graceful, not cold, just composed, they feel respect. They see that your emotions are not fragile, that your value isn't negotiable. Common male tests show up subtly. He might pull away for a few days to observe your reaction. He may tease you, question your confidence, or go quiet after a disagreement. In those moments, he's not just watching what you say, he's feeling what you emit. If your energy screams panic or pressure, it communicates fear. If your energy stays soft yet unbothered, it communicates power. A high-value woman passes these tests not through words, but through emotional neutrality. When he withdraws, she doesn't chase, she mirrors. When he becomes inconsistent, she doesn't cling, she maintains her rhythm. Her calm energy teaches him that she will not beg for what is already hers: respect, peace, and self-worth. And ironically, that calm confidence reignites his pursuit. Men are instinctively drawn to women who embody grace under uncertainty. The moment they sense that your mood depends on their behavior, they subconsciously pull back. But when you hold your vibration steady, they relax. Your energy says, "I want you, but I don't need you to be okay." That balance, desire without dependency, is magnetic. It's also important to understand that not all tests are healthy. There's a difference between unconscious masculine testing and toxic manipulation. A man who purposely provokes insecurity, disrespects boundaries, or plays power games is not testing, he's controlling. The difference lies in intent. A mature man tests from curiosity, an immature man tests from fear. The former deepens connection, the latter drains it. To respond with elegance, focus on emotional control. When something feels off, don't rush to demand explanation. Observe first. Detach your worth from his behavior. If he withdraws, let him. If he returns, receive him with calm discernment, not resentment. This isn't passivity, it's emotional intelligence. It tells him that you are in command of your peace, and no external variable can shake it. Spiritually, these moments are mirrors of your own growth. The universe often uses relationships to test how deeply you trust yourself. When you remain centered instead of reactive, you signal mastery. Each time you choose stillness over chasing, self-worth over anxiety, you strengthen your feminine magnetism. The woman who understands male testing behavior doesn't play defense, she plays alignment. She doesn't fear space, she uses it to reaffirm her value. She knows that if he's right for her, her composure will draw him closer, not push him away. And if he's wrong, her peace will protect her from wasting energy on what's beneath her frequency. Because ultimately, the greatest test of all isn't his, it's yours. The test of whether you can remain dignified, grounded, and radiant in the face of uncertainty. And when you pass that test, you stop auditioning for love and start attracting it naturally. Reading nonverbal cues in attraction. Long before words are exchanged, energy speaks. Before two people ever articulate interest, their bodies, eyes, and gestures have already begun a silent dialogue. Reading nonverbal cues in attraction is a skill, one that allows a woman to understand intent without guessing, to discern desire without deception, and to stay aligned with her intuition instead of her imagination. Men, in particular, often communicate attraction more through action than expression. Masculine energy shows interest through proximity, eye contact, attentiveness, and micro-expressions of protection or admiration. When a man is drawn to you, he naturally finds ways to close physical distance. He leans in when you speak, mirrors your gesture subconsciously, maintains consistent eye contact, or subtly faces his body toward you. His energy orbits yours. Yet attraction is not only revealed through approach, it's also revealed through restraint. A man who values a woman's presence often becomes quieter, more focused, and slightly nervous. He may fiddle with something, adjust his posture, or lower his tone when speaking to her. These small shifts are the body's way of saying, "I feel something here." A woman grounded in feminine awareness doesn't just notice these signs, she reads them with calm discernment. She doesn't overanalyze every smile or stare, she observes patterns instead. Is his attention consistent? Does his energy match his words? Does he create opportunities to connect, or does he simply admire from afar? Emotional maturity means letting curiosity exist without obsession. But this awareness isn't only about reading him, it's also about reading yourself. Your own body speaks volumes about how you feel. Do you find yourself mirroring his movements, leaning forward, playing with your hair, or softening your voice? These instinctive shifts are your feminine energy awakening in his presence. The key is to remain conscious of it, to stay authentic rather than performative. Attraction is beautiful, but when awareness replaces control, it becomes empowering. Nonverbal communication also includes the space between gestures, the pauses, the silences, the subtleties. Often, the way someone looks at you after you've finished speaking tells you more than anything they said. The pause before they respond, the slight smile when you're not looking, the protective stance when others are near, these are the language of the unsaid. The feminine who has learned to read this language carries an advantage that no words can replicate. However, just as you can feel genuine interest, you can also sense when something is off. Mixed signals are not mysterious. They are mismatched energy. When a man's body language feels open but his consistency feels closed, when he engages but never follows through, it's your cue to step back. The nonverbal truth is usually clearer than the spoken excuse. Spiritually, reading nonverbal cues is about attunement. It's the feminine gift of intuition, sensing energy beyond logic. This doesn't mean you assume or project. It means you listen with your whole being. You feel his tone, observe his eyes, and sense the vibration of authenticity. Your body always knows before your mind catches up. The quickening heartbeat, the comfort or unease in your gut, these are divine messengers. The art of reading attraction without losing your grounding lies in staying receptive yet reserved. You receive the energy, but you do not build fantasy from it. You acknowledge the chemistry, but you still wait for consistency. When you combine intuition with emotional regulation, you become unshakable. And perhaps the most powerful nonverbal cue of all is your own, your energy. The way you walk into a room, the calmness in your gaze, the warmth in your smile, these are invitations that speak louder than any flirtatious line. A woman who is self-possessed doesn't chase attention. She channels it. Her presence says what words never could. I know who I am, and if you can feel me, you're lucky to. Because the truth is, attraction begins long before touch. It begins in the silent exchange of confidence and curiosity, in the unspoken pull between energies that recognize something rare in each other, the kind of connection that needs no words at all. Staying grounded while being desired. Attraction can be thrilling, the kind that makes your pulse quicken, your focus blur, and your thoughts orbit around someone else. But desire, if not anchored in self-awareness, can easily become dependency. Staying grounded while being desired means learning how to remain centered in your truth even as admiration, affection, and attention swirl around you. It's the art of staying whole while being wanted. Desire feels intoxicating because it activates one of the most primal human needs, to be seen, chosen, and desired. But when you're not rooted in your own identity, that validation becomes addictive. You start to confuse attention with value and passion with partnership. High-value women know that desire is powerful, but it's not the same as connection. They understand that a man's attraction doesn't define their worth, it reflects his recognition of it. Being desired is a compliment. Being dependent on it is a trap. A grounded woman enjoys admiration without rearranging herself for it. She receives compliments with grace, but doesn't chase consistency to prove them true. Her energy says, I'm flattered, but I don't need it to know who I am. That balance, open yet self-assured, keeps her radiant and magnetic without losing equilibrium. Men are drawn to women who are comfortable with attention yet detached from its outcome. When you can enjoy chemistry without demanding permanence, you exude emotional maturity. Your calmness becomes a contrast to the frantic energy of those who cling to desire. You become the kind of woman who can be adored deeply, yet never controlled, because you don't mistake being desired for being defined. Spiritually, groundedness is rooted in the present moment. You stop projecting into the future or replaying past insecurities. You simply exist, aware, embodied, confident. You move with deliberate softness. You speak with patience. You love with awareness instead of anxiety. This presence deepens attraction because it feels real. You're not trying to perform a fantasy, you're embodying reality, and that's far more alluring. In practical terms, grounding yourself while being desired means maintaining your rituals, routines, and sense of self even as love enters your life. You keep showing up for your goals, friendships, and inner peace. You don't cancel your world to fit into his. You remain the woman you were before attention found you, because that's the woman he was drawn to in the first place. It also means maintaining emotional independence. You don't allow affection to become your only source of joy or validation. You let love enhance your peace, not replace it. When he compliments you, you appreciate it. When he doesn't, you still feel radiant. You no longer depend on external feedback to feel feminine, beautiful, or worthy. Desire tests your emotional discipline. Can you enjoy intensity without losing balance? Can you feel attraction without becoming addicted to it? The woman who can hold both passion and poise becomes unforgettable. She doesn't resist desire, she refines it. Her energy communicates, I am open to connection, but I remain sovereign. Grounding is also about awareness of energy exchange. Every interaction, physical or emotional, involves the giving and receiving of energy. The grounded woman doesn't give more than she's receiving. She doesn't confuse excitement for alignment. She knows that just because something feels intense doesn't mean it's right. So she slows down, listens to her intuition, and allows her inner wisdom to lead. When a woman remains grounded in desire, she becomes a paradox, approachable yet untouchable, warm yet self-contained. She doesn't chase validation because she is validation. Her calmness, her grace, her stillness speak louder than any declaration. And that love is the secret. The world will always desire a woman who desires herself first. When your energy says, I am already full, desire stops consuming you and starts orbiting you. You no longer drown in attention, you direct it. You don't lose yourself in love, you illuminate it. Love, for the high-value woman, is not a battlefield, it's a chessboard. Every move matters, but not because she's trying to outsmart anyone. Rather, she plays with awareness, not impulse. She understands that emotions are powerful pieces in this game of connection, and if used with grace, they can build intimacy instead of conflict. The feminine art of emotional chess is not manipulation. It's emotional intelligence expressed with precision, patience, and self-mastery. A woman who has mastered this art knows that timing is everything. Just as a skilled chess player doesn't reveal her strategy too soon, she doesn't expose her entire emotional landscape at once. She lets connection unfold gradually, allowing space for curiosity, growth, and respect. She understands that mystery maintains magnetism and that not every feeling must be shared the moment it's felt. Some emotions are meant to be observed privately, refined, and expressed later, when the impact will be deeper and clearer. This art begins with emotional observation. Before reacting, she watches, not out of coldness, but out of wisdom. She understands that love often stirs old wounds, and not every discomfort is a red flag. She asks herself, is this emotion about him? Or is it about something within me? That moment of self-reflection is her power. It allows her to respond from consciousness instead of conditioning. A woman practicing emotional chess doesn't manipulate, she aligns. When something feels off, she doesn't provoke chaos. She adjusts her energy. If someone withdraws, she doesn't chase. She mirrors stillness. If someone oversteps, she doesn't explode. She recalibrates boundaries with calm finality. Her restraint isn't weakness, it's precision. Like a queen on the board, she moves with purpose, never wasting motion or emotion. Men who encounter this kind of woman often find her both soothing and disarming. Her reactions are measured, her energy consistent. She doesn't guilt, beg, or demand, and yet she commands. Because emotional composure is rare, and in a world of noise, her calm becomes intoxicating. The feminine energy that knows how to hold emotion without spilling it commands respect without effort. Another aspect of emotional chess is strategic vulnerability. Vulnerability, when used with intention, deepens connection. But when given recklessly, it depletes power. The high-value woman knows that sharing everything at once doesn't build intimacy, it overwhelms it. She offers glimpses of her heart, not the entire map. She lets others earn the right to her softness, ensuring that her openness is met with reciprocity, not exploitation. The most refined move in emotional chess, however, is silence. Silence is not withdrawal, it's wisdom. It creates space for energy to return to balance. It allows truth to reveal itself without force. A man feels this silence differently. It's not punishment, but presence. It says, I'm here, but I won't fight for what refuses to match me. That quiet strength teaches him how to approach her, not with control, but with respect. Spiritually, emotional chess is about alignment with divine feminine rhythm. It's learning to move through love as water does through rock, gracefully, but with power that reshapes everything in its path. It's being both intuitive and intentional, knowing that your emotional choices ripple far beyond the present moment. The woman who practices emotional chess never loses herself in love. She leads with awareness, not reaction. She listens more than she argues, observes more than she explains. And when she does speak, her words carry the precision of wisdom, not the weight of woundedness. Ultimately, emotional chess is not about control, it's about clarity. It's about mastering your inner landscape so that love doesn't move you like a storm, but like a symphony. You remain the conductor, graceful, calm, in tune, guiding emotion to serve harmony, not havoc. And that love is the highest expression of feminine power, loving fully while remaining sovereign, emotional yet unshaken, compassionate yet completely in command of your peace. Thank you for listening to this chapter of Becoming Her. If you haven't subscribed to the Book Club podcast yet, go ahead and do that so you can stay updated on every new release. You can also find this book on Amazon in paperback and Kindle formats if you'd like a physical or digital copy. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might benefit from it as well. See you in the next chapter.